Good morning, everyone. Today's reflection and meditation is an opening to our entire humanity, all of what you are, all the varying states, all the varying emotions, all the varying memories, beliefs, thoughts, actions, inactions, opening to the vulnerability of all you are. I'm going to draw upon Elijah and Therese for this reflection. So, in the first book of Kings, we run across these chapters, 17, 18, 19, and 20, where we have an interesting experience of this person, whether it's icon, symbol, metaphor, historically real, it doesn't matter too much to me. We run across an experience of this individual, Elijah, that's worthy of noting. All through, except for one part, all through the prophetic writings of Elijah, you get the tagline that I've referred to, Elijah who stood in God's presence, or Elijah in God's presence he stood. And it was always this, almost like a subtitle to who he was as a human being, and pointed to the reality that God motivated him, was with him, moved through him. He was an agent of, for all of these times that he responds to being a prophet. And yet he is very human. He's very human, reminding us that as aligned or united as we are with God, it doesn't eclipse our humanity, and it doesn't eclipse our human experience. It rather places a life-giving and sublime context to our human experience, not just externally, but internally. So in chapter 17, in the first book of Kings, Elijah is ordered by God to take this journey. And on the journey, he's fed by ravens. The iconography of Elijah being fed by ravens is one of the sublime, iconic representations of mysticism. The raven with its symbolism, and Elijah being fed, having nothing, and yet having everything that he needed. So traveling through the desert and yet having birds feed you. And then after that very short passage, he goes and he stays with a widow and her son. And the widow's very poor. And Elijah says, "It's okay, just make for me a little bread." And what happens is when she uses some of her ingredients, miracles happen and they are replaced and she has more. And so she continues to feed him because she continues to grow the ingredients that she has. During this time, her son becomes very ill, and Elijah heals the son. Elijah, who stands in God's presence, who is so united to God that all his needs are taken care of, and that he reaps miracles wherever he goes. And it is then after these two events, and a bit after it, we don't know how long after, because we don't even know historically if he existed, but it's quite a bit after it, he's ordered to go and present himself to Ahab, one of the rulers. There's a big drought on the land. Everyone is suffering. And this is where we get the event that I shared, and you're also probably very familiar with, where he evokes a challenge ordered by the Lord to do this, where he invites all the prophets of Baal to create an altar with a sacrifice on it. And he does the same all by himself. And they are both invited to bring down fire to consume the sacrifice. Elijah's altar also symbolically is he invites Israelites who are being unfaithful to the one God to even give him stones that represent God, that have a touch of the land of God and the purpose of God. He even builds his altar in a very devoted way. And the end of the story on this is that the 450 prophets, through all their trance and everything they did, failed. And Elijah succeeded so dramatically that the fire that came down from the Lord lapped up everything, even the water that he had poured over the sacrifice so that no one would be suspicious of him. And then after that, what does he do? In his zeal, he, with all the believers, kill all the prophets. Word gets to Jezebel, the queen. And then we have something that we don't have in any of the other accounts. We have this phrase, chapter 19, verse 3. Elijah was afraid and ran for his life. This man of God, who had singular devotion, who was fed by the elements, who reaped miracles everywhere he went, was now afraid. And you'll find in that translation, the Elijah who stood in God's presence, that tagline, disappears. And the symbol there, similar to our own lives, that there are moments in our own lives that our own fidelity, our own one singular path of devotion, that even in those moments, we find ourselves experience things such as fear, anger, discouragement, betrayal, inward betrayal, not of others. That always happens, right? Doubt. And Elijah embodies this at this time. Some of the translations point that when he races out into the desert, that he's angry with God, that he won't eat. God brings him food and he won't eat. Some of the translations will say that. Others say he eats, but he's still upset. But God has him, just like Source has us. We cannot run away from the essence of who and what we are. And Elijah ends up with one of his greatest experiences of God after this period of anger and discouragement and disillusionment, not knowing what he's done or what he's given his life to. He goes through the only way in our personal development. The only way is through. The mystic path is through every experience and finding ourselves held by Source. Finding that we cannot not be who we are as wired for the divine, as taken by the Source, the well that wells up within us. And the clearer we go through and not divert our attention to all sorts of superficial ways of looking at things, the more we go through, the greater our simplicity, and the more rapidly our union fills the fragrance of our being. So in that, I invite you to close your eyes. And once again, we have 2 more days. We form our circle in spirit, bringing all of what we are. The things we've worked out, the things we haven't worked out. The ways we are healed, the ways we are still in process. And in this circle, already present, are all the Carmelite mystics we've walked with so far, and all that walk with us, and all the angels, saints, spiritual beings, gurus, ancestors, shamans, gods, and goddesses. We are here for the moment, not an idea of the moment, but the moment as it is. The moment as you are. And let the words of Therese fall on you like rain or well up within you like a spring. Draw me. We shall run after you in the odor of your ointments. O Jesus, it is not even necessary to say, when drawing me, draw the souls whom I love. This simple statement, draw me, suffices. I understand, Lord, that when a soul allows herself to be captivated by the odor of your ointments, she cannot run alone. All the souls whom she loves follow in her train. This is done without constraint, without effort. It is the natural consequence of her attraction for you. Just as a torrent, throwing itself with impetuosity into the ocean, drags after it everything it encounters in its passage. In the same way, O Jesus, the soul who plunges into the shoreless ocean of your love draws with her all the treasures she possesses. Draw me, Lord, we shall run. O Jesus, I ask you to draw me into the flames of your love, to unite me so closely to you that you live and act in me. I feel that the more the fire of love burns within my heart, the more I shall say, draw me, the more the souls who will approach me will run swiftly in the odor of your ointments. And as we begin to end this meditation, form your own intention for this day. And in that intention, our time this morning is consecrated and complete. When you're ready, draw your palms together in front of your heart and open your eyes with Namaste. Namaste. Have a great day, everyone.